Now, I might be in the minority, but I've always loved spreadsheets. But whether you enjoy building them or see them as a means to an end, we're now at a point where the manual work of data entry and formula memorization is no longer the standard. By using the integrated AI within Google Sheets, we're able to automate research, structure raw information, and generate bespoke calculations in seconds. Today, I'm going to demonstrate how this allows you to build more reliable systems while staying focused on the results. So let's get started. Here we are in Google Sheets. Up here in the top right hand corner, this is where you can start working with Gemini in your Google Sheet. So we'll click on this and we can see we've got a chat window down here. There are a couple of options that you can add in here. The first thing, if you created any gems, you can actually link through to those and work in the context of that gem, so it gives you specific advice in the skill set you've prescribed in that gem. The other thing that you can do here, you can add in sources. So if you've got other tables that you want the gem to reference, you can add those in as contextual sources for the Google Gemini here. And another thing as well that's quite new, you can also generate images to insert into your Google Sheets to make them look more appealing, especially if you're doing data analysis and need to report back on that as well. So they're just a few of the optional extras that you can do within Google Sheets. But we're not going to do that today. We're going to start off with some research. So I'm a big coffee fan and I want to go out in London and find some really good coffee shops. So I'm going to ask Gemini to do some research for me and create a data table so that I know where all the good coffee places are that are local to me. So I've given it this prompt. I want you to research the top 10 cafes in my local region and give me some columns based on cafe name, give me a summary of the cafe itself, the types of coffee that they serve, and what are the average ratings that you can find on Google. And now it's done the research and we can see here that we've got a table and we've inserted it and it's given us some really good research based on all of the different cafes that are local to me. So this is a great start. But now I want AI to do some further work for me. So in this cell over here, I'm going to pop in a formula that says equals AI. So that engages Gemini. And then I want it to get the average price for a coffee at this cafe. And here we have the table with all of the estimated costs here. We can just pop in here, average price. So we've got that column sorted. We might want to update this prompt. So I actually wanted to also include a link to the menu. So before I visit, I can get a bit of an insight into what the menu might be at this cafe. So we'll do autofill as well. Let's do generate response and insert. And let's see what it comes back with. And now we can see in this column, we've got the average price and a link to the menu so that we can view the menu before we go and visit there. Another thing though, when you go to a cafe, there's a sense of belonging that I like to get from a cafe, and that's being a part of a community or a certain demographic that you feel that you align to. So I'm going to ask AI to have a look into it based on my personal preferences. I want it to be minimalist and I want to connect on a personal level. And in this column now, we've gotten Gemini to have a look at the cafe itself and then give it a rating based out of 5, 5 being the closest match in terms of how does it match my personal preferences and should I visit this cafe? And this isn't right or wrong, this is just my personal preferences. And we can also scroll that down and it will generate that for the other coffee shops. So we can see here we've got a 5 out of 5 down here. It's got its own in-house roastery, which is something that I was really specific about. And it also serves the flat white, which is something that I really wanted as well. So again, AI's done the research and I've given it something very specific. I want you to give me a score based on my personal preferences, and it's given me this score. So I can then narrow down in the data and see which coffee I might like to visit. Because I'm a bit of a coffee fiend, I want AI to give me a suggestion on how much I might spend each year if I was to visit it 3 days per week. So I've popped that formula in. So if I was to buy an oat flat white or equivalent coffee 3 times a week, how much would I spend each year in visiting this cafe? And again, it's run the formula for me. It's looked at the website. It's looked at the average cost of the coffee that I want to drink. And it's come back and said, this is the average annual cost based on the information that I've given it. So the one that I'd really like to visit, the 5 out of 5 in terms of that personal match, is actually going to be one of the most expensive ones. But as it's something that I truly value, I love a good coffee. I love being in an environment to work remotely where I feel aligned to. I don't mind spending that extra premium to visit this place. So that would be somewhere that I'd probably visit first off. And again, this is just the start of the data. We can go back into Gemini here and let's see if it agrees with my summary as well. And we can see here the top recommendation is Saint Espresso and Ozone Coffee Roasters, which was actually my personal preference. So I think what I'll do is I'll go and start with Ozone Coffee Roasters and then I'll go to Saint Espresso next. So this is just a really good example of how you can use AI to generate a spreadsheet using research from the internet. and then also tweak the data sheet itself using custom AI prompts to get more data or to do analysis for you so you can get AI to do the heavy lifting. By using these three approaches, AI research, creating data tables, and AI formulas, we're able to transform Google Sheets from a manual entry tool into an intelligent analytical engine. This shift allows you to focus on the strategic insights hidden in your data rather than the mechanics of the spreadsheet itself. Becoming proficient in this new approach comes through consistent use. To help me learn this new way, I picked one new use case each week to practice with and get used to until the behavioral change took place and I was doing it daily without thinking about it. Spreadsheets are just one part of a truly efficient workspace. If you're interested in seeing how we can apply this same logic to handle high volume communication, you should watch my other video on automating email replies using Google Workspace Studio, which I'll link to at the top here. And if this has helped you, subscribe for more weekly deep dives, and you can also subscribe to my newsletter in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.